Qnet is a direct selling network marketing company, owned by the QI Group since 1998, known as Qnet back in 2003, but shortened into Qnet in 2010. The company depends on independent representatives, referring its products to consumers and receiving a commission for their sales volume.
Its headquarters is based in Hong Kong.
The company has offices in some countries but only operates in places like India, Saudi Arabia, and recently in Egypt. Qnet has become one of the hottest subjects here in Egypt as of late. It has recently become somewhat of a new trend. My name is Omar Ghaffar, and I'll be your host throughout this documentary, researching, analyzing, and gathering information and opinion about the fastest rising network marketing company in Egypt, Qnet. After a Qnet representative which you know would contact you and suggest that you meet in some coffee shop, they then would start their official recruitment presentation. They start the presentation by introducing a scientist called Robert Kiyosaki, a scientist who became a millionaire because of his books. One of his most famous books is called Business School, which describes the 4 stages of business in which they start to explain. E, S, B, and I, which are the initials for employee, small business, big business, and investor. They explain each stage and state their risks, giving Naguib Sawirs as an example for the big business and Walid ibn Talal as an example for the investor. The E and S stages are in search of security, while the B and I are in search of being financially free. Robert Kiyosaki stated that in order to reach the investor stage, it starts from the E to the S to the B to the I stage, asking how long we think it takes to go from the employee to the investor stage, answering after our assumption that it takes from 30 to 50 years. But what if we want to reach it from 3 to 5 years in a legal way? 4 ways to do so. The stock market, stating its high risks. Real estate, mentioning that we don't own millions to buy land. Idea, which is coming up with a good idea to make millions, giving the example of Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, asking how many ideas can we come up with and actually apply to make money. And finally, network marketing. Then they start explaining Qnet with an example. The idea is very similar to the old times here in Egypt, where any life had to be near the Nile, with farmers having to fill water in a barrel from the Nile then carry them back home, until one farmer had a vision, and started digging a hole every time he would go to the Nile. Everyone called him crazy, but after connecting the water from the Nile to his house after a couple of years, everyone used the same idea. And this is the same Qnet idea, how to invest a small amount of time and money in order to become a millionaire. They then give a brief company profile stating that the company was active for 14 years. Microsoft is in charge of the company database. HSBC is in charge of its financial support. Qnet is the FIFA and Virgin Team Racing official sponsor, as well as being 100% e-commerce. They explained that mentioning this information is to ensure the company's safety. They start introducing the 6 products that they offer. Bernard H. Merrier, a brand for Swiss watches and jewelry, Amasqua energy products, Invoice for international calls, QVI traveling packages, Home Pure for water filters, and e-learning for internet courses. They then explain the 2 factors that makes their company powerful, the word of mouth and power of duplication, which is the power of earning 1 cent in the first day, 2 cents in the next, 4 cents in the third, and so on. They now start introducing the way their business works. Once an individual joins Qnet, recruits 2 people to join the business, assuming those 2 would be the closest friends or family, and those 2 recruit another 2, the individual immediately receives $250. The company rule is that once 3 people on the right and 3 people on the left are achieved, the individual receives a $250 commission. As long as there's a network underneath a person, the individual receives profit, but not per person, per 6, 3 on the right and 3 on the left. Also, whenever a person underneath recruits others, the top individual still gains profit, but there's a certain limited amount of money received at the end, according to the product that individual bought. When exceeded, the rest of the profit returns back to the company. The individual would then buy another product if interested in continuing. The presenter keeps calculating the risks of the system, reaching up till 99.75% risk, meaning that only 20 people were recruited by a certain individual in a year, and the employee still wins by gaining extra money and a useful product to use. The only risk of the business is the cost of delay, which is the time wasted before joining, and the network that individual could have done and gained from, they state. Two ways are used when joining Qnet. Hard, which is buying a normal, fairly priced product, recruiting 3 people on the right and 3 people on the left, earning $250 per 6 with a certain amount of money as a limit. And Smart, which is buying a more expensive product, putting a higher limit, making the same effort but more profit. In their final presentation point, they describe two kinds of lifestyles. The marathon, which is the normal lifestyle, a person working hard, going to college in order to gain a small X, referring to money as X. After completing PhDs, master's courses, and others to improve themselves, they only earn a slightly bigger X. And the relay, which is going around in a circle, recruiting a person to get X, recruiting another to get 2X, and so on. They finally suggest us to follow both the relay and the marathon if we desire, in order to live a normal life cycle and at the same time start making money, giving their own personal examples and what they want to accomplish in life, saying that they're nearly reaching all their goals.